Welcome to episode 70.
Hey, this is John Lee Dumas of EO Fire, and you're listening to Who Did That Voice, where we take an in-depth look at voiceovers.
Ready to take a vacay, but you just don't have the time to plan? Let the agents at 3D Travel Company pamper you and take care of all the little details. Find us at www.whodidthatvoice.co and click the Book Now button on the left-hand side. For a limited time, Who Did That Voice listeners can receive a Disney gift card for qualifying Disney and Universal trips, booked and traveled by 2017. Hurry and book today so you can travel away.
Welcome to Who Did That Voice, the show where we take an in-depth look at voiceover. And now, here's your host, Trenton Larkin.
Hey you guys, this is a special shout out to all my listeners around the world. Who Did That Voice is now heard in over 78 different countries, and I can't thank you guys enough. Here in the USA and abroad, thank you for listening to Who Did That Voice. Keep listening and sharing with your friends. Hey everyone, it is a special day today for Who Did That Voice. The podcast has turned 1 year old today, and I cannot believe the show has been on the air for a full year, and we have reached 70 episodes in 1 year. It's unbelievable, and it's all due to my listeners who have continued to help support this show, listen to it. Thank you guys so much. I wouldn't be here without you. You guys enjoy today's 70th Happy Birthday Anniversary episode. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today's special guest voiced Raf from Transformers Prime.
Taking the auto out of an Autobot is so not a good thing.
B, come on. You're just as amazing without wheels. I mean, speed isn't everything.
Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Who Did That Voice. Today on the show I have Andy Pessoa joining me today. Andy, thanks so much for coming on the show today, bud.
No problem. I'm happy to be here. Hey everybody.
Well, Andy, you know, it is such an honor to have you, bud. I'm glad I was finally able to grab you. I know you stay very busy. For a young man in the industry there in Hollywood, you stay quite busy for sure.
Oh, thanks. I've been fortunate. You know, it's there's a lot of good people out here, a lot of talent, and it can be tough, but yeah, I got lucky. Thank God.
Absolutely, brother. Well, Andy, the very first thing we always like to do when we start out with a special guest is to kind of get a little background on who they are and what brought you into acting, and more specifically, what got you into voice acting.
Growing up, I was homeschooled. I had 3 older brothers, who were also homeschooled. So I had an interesting childhood, to say the least. I definitely got close with my brothers and my mom, my dad. I mean, who isn't, right? But around the age of 9, I was scouted actually in a mall, and at the time I was living in Texas. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I've actually lived in a few different states, Minnesota, but it was way too icy there. We had to leave. It was just too cold. I love Minnesota though. Like, don't get me wrong, I want to go back. I love the state, but at the time I was really little, and my parents were like, "It's too icy. Let's move south." Moved to Texas, and then shortly after living there, I got scouted. And then I started coming to California with my mom, actually. Like so many actors do, they'll come out for pilot season and episodic season. And then, yeah, so for the first several years of my career, I only did on-camera acting. But eventually, when I landed with CESD, talent agency, they wanted me across the board, which was commercial, theatrical, modeling, and voiceover. I'd never done voiceover or even thought about it before, you know.
Yeah.
And I was, oh man, I'm trying to remember how young I was when I started going to voiceover auditions. I honestly, I want to say maybe I was 12. Yeah, around 12 or 11 when I started voice acting, and CESD was really, really helpful. They sent me out on tons of auditions. I'm actually still with them. I love that agency.
Awesome.
They sent me out on a bunch of auditions, and I would just prepare them the same way I normally did on camera. but I didn't book anything for like a year and a half or 2 years. And I would go to voiceover auditions almost every single week, multiple times, and never booked a thing. And then, like 2 years into it, I got a small part on a radio show where I actually got to use a British accent. That was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
And it was really cool. It's called a Lamplighter. But yeah, and then from there, after that job, I like every so often to get another voiceover job, and then another one, and before you knew it, I was getting more voiceover work than I was on camera or commercial. So which I don't mind, because I love the medium now. Now it's what I consider one of my things. Back then it was just something more on the side, but it kind of took over in a sense. So yeah, but apart from the acting, finished school, and then I figured I'll just make a career out of my career. I was already doing it, already working on it for like 10 years. Like, why do anything else, Yeah. And I love it. So yeah, pretty much I just act now. I live in California. I'm Los Angeles. I love to play video games. That's why I'm actually using my gaming headset right now. It's very comfortable. I play PC, Xbox. That's pretty much where I spend most of my free time is gaming. And I really enjoy it. That's why I love when I get video game auditions, because I'm like, yes, this is my favorite.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's pretty much who I am. I've also started writing. I've written 2 novels. That's something I do on the side when I'm not busy with acting or auditioning. And yeah, so pretty soon, hopefully, I can get those published, and I'll have something to show the world as far as my writing goes. I'm excited about that too.
Absolutely. That's fantastic, Andy. I mean, you have such a passion in your voice, but it's obvious that you love what you're doing, and it's always wonderful that you're doing what you love, because then it's not work, it's just fun.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, just diving into a couple of things, I believe you did some additional voices for the Mr. Peabody and Sherman show. Is that correct?
I think Mr. Peabody and Sherman. I believe I only did one voice on that. That was, okay. Oh man, and he was a voice. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but he was a character. Yes, I'm pretty sure I only played one character though, and his name was Blaine or Blake or something like that.
Okay, I wasn't sure, because all it said was additional voices, so it wasn't necessarily a labeled character on what I had found. But at least if you had a character, that's pretty cool. It makes it more special for sure.
Yeah, he was definitely, yeah. I haven't seen the episode though, but I'm actually in 2 episodes, I believe, with this character. Yeah, I have not seen them, and I believe his name is Blaine. It's been like a year or 2 years since I did it.
Hey man, it all runs together when you get busy, huh?
Exactly. Yeah, there's so many auditions coming that it's hard to remember what their names are.
Awesome. Well, hey man, that's good. That's good when you're busy and you can't keep track, I guess.
Yeah. But he did have a very specific sound. I remember the audition. They just said he was like a surfer guy who's a bully, and he bullies Sherman a lot. Which I don't really play bullies. Like I go out for them all the time, but they don't cast me as bullies. So so I thought I'd do something different. I think it was actually my mom's idea. My mom is kind of like she's been helping me since the beginning. I mean, obviously an 8-year-old can't do acting by themselves, like they can't go to auditions, they need somebody to go over their lines with, and I was really blessed to have my mom help me through this whole time, honestly, with all my acting on camera and voiceover.
Dude, that's awesome. You have such an admiration for your mother, and I respect that, brother.
Yeah, I could not have done this without her or my dad. Yeah, actually, my whole family moved out to California a few years back because of acting and stuff, and also the weather is a lot nicer out here.
Absolutely. Well, that's fantastic that your family supports you in every aspect of the acting career, which is fantastic when you have a family like that. And it's cool because you and I are kindred spirits in a way that you don't know yet, but I was actually homeschooled too.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, brother.
Oh
I was
my
homeschooled, and my parents have 5 kids, so we all
There
went
you
through that. So
I was a family of 4 kids.
So,
Wow.
yeah, dude.
Relatable.
Yeah, and it's something that unless you're a homeschool kid, you just don't get it.
Exactly. Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and of course, I'm long past the kid days, but it's something that sticks with you. It's like a certain club. You just know.
You do just know. I suppose it could also be the other way around though. As far as going to like a charter school or public school, private school.
Yeah.
Like you and I, we don't know exactly what it's like for them.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
Well, we wanted to dive into some other things you've done in your career. The one thing that really caught my attention was I'm a huge Transformers fan, Andy, and I'm sure you are too. And I've been watching Transformers Prime, and, you and I met, a few months back, 5 months, 6 months or so ago, and come across you and looking at your career, and I'm going, holy cow, this kid plays on Transformers Prime. And when I say kid, you are a young man, and, you played Raf on the Transformers Prime show and video game and commercials, of course, that they did for the hub. And how did that role come about, man? And what was it like getting to play a character on Transformers?
Okay. Well, the role came about honestly like any other. It was several years ago when I got the audition. I believe. Do you want to help me out on this? Like how long?
It came out, I think, about 2010 when you initially started.
So it came out around 2010.
Yeah.
I
it's been about 7 years.
Recording, yeah, that sounds about right. I believe I got the audition before I even turned 14. I was 13 at the time, so my voice. Yeah, I remember. Well, I guess we'll go through it chronological order. So I got the job, but but it came just like any other audition, honestly, just from my agency, just character breakdown, and first thing I thought is, oh my gosh, Transformers, this is awesome, but. I'm blessed to get a lot of cool auditions. So like for other things that I also love too. So in a way, I didn't want to get too excited about it because, like I said, there's a lot of really good people out here. Everybody is so talented and unique sounding that the producers and stuff and directors, they have a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
So so I didn't want to get too excited about it, but I prepared a lot and went in just like any other audition. And then they just so happened to want to call me back, and then went to callbacks, and it was awesome. And after that, they just gave me the job after considering for a couple weeks, and I was through the roof excited because first off, I had never had a part that was this big on an animated TV series. Like normally I'm a guest star, like Peabody and Sherman. I'm just there for 1-2 episodes and that's it. But this was a series regular, so I was really excited about that. And then I heard that it was going to be the original voice of Optimus Prime, the original Megatron. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is I wasn't expecting this at all. And then the animation looked so cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really something special. I specifically remember the first table read for the show going in, and believe it or not, the first voice I recognized was not Optimus or Megatron because when those actors talk normally, they don't sound like Optimus or Megatron per se, like exactly.
Yeah.
But I noticed a deep, kind of very distinct voice in the room, and that was Steve Bloom, and I flipped because I held it in, but inside I just looked and I saw him and he was talking and I recognized his voice from so many things. My brothers used to really be big into anime and stuff, and so I was around that as well. And he's done so much. Like his voice just immediately, that was the first one I recognized. But then obviously as we started working, it was just phenomenal to be in the room with all these people who are immensely talented and way more experienced than me. It was kind of an interesting experience, to say.
Yeah. Well, I imagine so, man. Did you actually get a chance to meet Frank Welker or Peter Cullen?
Yes. What I loved about the show was that every single episode, except for maybe 1 or 2 exceptions, everyone was in the room the whole time.
Awesome.
It was an ensemble recording. You had everybody.
You can't beat that, man. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. And oh my gosh, like I wish I could have recorded the conversations that happened between the takes, because you have Kevin Michael Richardson in there. I didn't know him before the show, but he is a fantastic man and is very, very funny. And Jeff as well. Just I kind of just remember everybody's first name. You know, it's like Peter, Jeff, Somali, Josh, Tanya, Kevin, Frank, Steve. Those were a lot of the regulars who would be there every week, and you know, it was really fun, and I grew up kind of on that show because, like I said, I got the job when I was around 13, and then we only finished when I was, I think, just about turned 17, because there were breaks in between the seasons, and there were like, and it took almost like a year for a season. It was a long time.
Yeah.
It was a long time.
Yeah. Dude, just to be a fly on that wall, the experience in that room had to be like crazy awesome.
It was crazy awesome.
Wow.
I felt really, really blessed, really fortunate to have that chance to socialize with them, but also learn from them, see what they did, and just, it was kind of just like osmosis, like you see them do their thing, and then you just, I don't know, you can play off it really, really well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had that experience in the room, and it gives you that playability, and you can play off of the characters better. And not only that, I'm sure, like you said, in between the takes, I'm sure they were just spouting things of wisdom that you were like, this is so epic,
Amongst a lot of jokes.
I'm sure. Well, and Kevin, I love Kevin because he played the Joker on The Batman that came out early 2000s, and he's done so many wonderful things too. But I mean, like you said, Don and Peter and Frank, and I mean, my gosh, that room was just packed full of awesomeness. And then for you to get to grow up in that environment, because, I know today a lot of shows are not done ensemble anymore, unfortunately, but to have that experience is just phenomenal, dude.
I would love to have that again, honestly. I mean, who wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, specifically, like, and on, like being in a room with people who are just so far, just so far experienced and know their way around it. I mean, I've been voiceover acting now for like 6 years, so, but still, compared to them, it's like, I'm a noob. So yeah. I love that feeling, and I would love to have it again, honestly.
Absolutely, Andy. Well, I actually kind of wanted to talk about a couple of things that you acted in. I was actually kind of surprised when I read this one. You were in The Amazing Spider-Man back in 2012.
Yes. Okay, that was kind of another similar experience where I got to be around people who were so immensely talented, like, and who are, pretty big names and stuff.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite on-camera jobs I've ever done. The reason being was because it was my first time on a really, really massive movie set. I've guest starred on a lot of big TV shows like 2.5 Men and Scrubs and just My Name is Earl, which were so much fun, really awesome, but never before on like a big movie, like Marvel, Sony movie. Like, it was so cool.
Blockbuster.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, awesome.
So the scene, I don't know if you've seen it. It's right at the beginning of the movie. My character Gordon is being bullied by the school bully, and that scene took 3 days to film, even though it goes by in like 30 seconds. It was like 10 seconds a day, essentially. The director was Mark Webb, and I personally really like his work, and I thought it was an honor to meet him and work with him, and he was really easy to work with, really down to earth. And then obviously Andrew Garfield was there, and this was shortly after the Social Network was like a big thing.
Yeah. And
I personally loved that movie. I still love the soundtrack. I still love the movie. So it was really cool to be able to meet him. He's such a nice guy, so humble, so kind. And then Emma Stone was there, and she was so cool. She too was really, really nice. It was kind of hilarious because I remember in the makeup trailer, I went in there with my mom, and Emma Stone was just there in a chair, and then she turns and she's like, "Hi, I'm Emma." And I'm thinking, I know.
You're like, what do I say?
Yeah, right. I'm like, yeah. So I just, extend my
Wow.
hand. Hi, I'm Andy. Nice to meet you.
She seems like a sweetheart, man. So that's great to hear that she's got that sweet
She
personality.
was so nice. Oh my
That's
gosh.
awesome. And Andrew seems like a down to earth kind of guy. Like, I really liked him. I really loved the cast we had with the Mark Webb Spider-Man movies.
Yeah,
And I was
liked
sad
it.
to see that it transitioned away, but I understand Marvel was trying to get kind of a new start for their franchise. I understand why they did it, but I loved those two movies way better than the previous ones. And I thought the way the
Same.
movies ended with Mark Webb were awesome because it always said Mark Webb and then like Webb's like shot out of his name. And I'm like, dude, that is so cool. I'm like, he totally played with that. That was awesome. But that's awesome to hear, man. I mean, just those behind the scenes stories with other actors that you've gotten to experience with firsthand with Emma and Andrew. That's just freaking awesome,
And
dude.
also the guy who was who played the bully, his name was Chris Silka. I had never met him before, but now I see him everywhere. Like I saw him on The Leftovers, I saw him on, I'm trying to think what else I've seen, but I've seen him on a bunch of other stuff. Like he's doing good, and he was such a nice guy. And I remember it was so funny. I felt bad for him because he had to keep holding me like nonstop for 3 days. I mean, he's a pretty big dude, and at the time I was like, 2012, was that 5 years ago? Yeah, I was like 16, so yeah, and I was small, so but I still felt bad. Like he was like, dude, my arms, and I'm like, I'm sorry, dude, there's nothing I can do. Yeah, but he was a really nice guy, and that's one thing I always love to mention, because he played the bully, his character was a jerk, but in real life he's a really chill, cool guy, and I'd love to work with him again. That'd be awesome.
That's awesome, Andy. Well, another thing that caught my eye was Sleepy Hollow. Is that Fox's Sleepy Hollow? Or
Yes.
That's an epic TV show, man. I love that show.
It is. Oh my gosh. That actually is one of my favorite TV parts,
I'm
because
just picking the best of the best today, man.
Yeah, dude, you are. You really are.
And I just picked all these at random because they were like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Well, then you and I obviously have similar tastes, because
awesome.
we're both like, yeah, this is awesome. Yeah. So Sleepy Hollow. That's one of my most recent on camera jobs. It's been slim pickings for me, honestly. I've had quite a bit of auditions, but not much luck, unfortunately, with the on-camera work. But Sleepy Hollow was one that I did, I believe, last year. And one thing that made it so fun is that it was my first job that I've actually had to leave the state for. Like,
Really?
everything else has always been here in LA. That show filmed in Atlanta. I had never been to Atlanta before, so that was really exciting. They, it was a bit of the star treatment, because they picked me up from the house. Me and my mom actually picked me and my mom up from the house, and then flew us out there, and then set us up in a hotel. And I've always heard about that, and I've been close to that before, but never gotten it. So that was really cool. And one thing I loved is that I got to play young Ichabod, which was awesome. I couldn't believe it. Like that was really, really fun. Honestly, experiencing the city, because I've spent a lot of time in LA. These pretty much my whole life. I've like half my life or more I've been living out here in LA. So it was really fun to be able to travel and then have this cool job to go to while I'm there. And the actors were all super, super nice. Got some cool pictures side by side, the real Ichabod.
Oh,
and
wow.
And then and then the filming itself was pretty intense. I don't know if you've seen the spot, but it was supposed to be raining torrentially. So they had these rain machines, and we were filming at night, and it was a very intensive shoot, and very emotional for Ichabod, because one of his friends, spoiler alert, gets killed. So then he has this reaction and this struggle, and that part as well got to use a bit of a British accent. I've done quite a bit of work with the British accent, and I love that. I love that because it's fun to do, and even when I'm not working, honestly, I use a British accent a lot of the time, just in everyday life, for no reason at all.
That is so awesome. Well, that episode, I believe I watched it. There was like a plague or something going around, or a murder or something. What was going on in that episode? Because I think I remember it.
Jack the Ripper.
It was Jack the Ripper. I was thinking there was a murder on the loose. I couldn't remember the storyline that was going around though. But yeah, I've seen that because I've watched everything up until the current season 4, I think. So
Cool.
love that show. But yeah, I remembered it, but like I didn't put 2 and 2 together because like I'm just watching it and enjoying it. And then when I looked it up, I was like, oh, that's Andy. I was like, after I've already watched it, it's like that after effect where you're like, wait a minute, I've already seen this kid, like,
Wow.
So that was awesome because I was like,
Awesome.
holy crap, I'm watching a TV show and I know the guy on the show. Like,
Yeah, that's got to be pretty cool. I mean, well, yeah, I've had that experience too. Like I was saying when I was watching like The Leftovers, and then Chris shows up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Chris! What the heck?
Yeah.
That's cool.
it makes it more real for you, like it's more than just a TV show. It's like, I know these people. That's awesome. Well, I've got a couple other questions for you today, man. And do you have social media or a way people could reach out to you, or maybe they're even looking to hire you? How would people get in touch with you, bud?
I do have social media. My Facebook page is a very easy way to get in touch with me. Also, I have an Instagram. Do you want me to like send you links after this, or I guess on Instagram I'm just Andy.Pessoa.
Okay.
And on Facebook, just my name, Andy Pessoa. I have a fan page that I post mostly work related stuff, and then I have that's typically the best way to get in touch with me. But then I also have my personal page, which everything goes on there. It can be a bit of a mess.
Well, Andy, how do people spell your last name real quick, bud, just so they know?
Pessoa.
Sweet. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. You were going to say the Twitter too.
Oh, no worries. And I have Twitter as well. I believe my Twitter handle is @RealAndyPessoa. And then, that's pretty much my social media. That's the best way to reach me. I'd love to hear from you guys. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, man. And I'm sure there'll be a lot of people looking to reach out to you and maybe even hire you for some stuff. But I've got
That would be sweet.
It would be sweet. Man, I've got 3 questions for you and we will wrap this interview up. The first of the 3 is, what kind of advice would you give to a young actor who might be looking, or any actor, potential actor who might be looking to join the industry or to get into voiceover? What would you recommend for them to do?
I would recommend seeking an agent, definitely, because that's really how you get work. You can self-submit online, but there's a lot more opportunity if you have an agent. And as far as getting an agent, most agencies don't take kind of like unsolicited submissions.
Yeah.
So I would suggest going to some classes, and then usually the people who run the classes are really in the know of the business, and they can help you put together a demo reel, and then they can even recommend you to an agent. I got really lucky. I just got my voiceover agent, like I said, just across the board when I was going with them for on camera, so I didn't have to do that. But that's honestly the best advice I could give is look for some classes, take some voiceover classes, make sure that this is something that you want to do, because sometimes you think you want to do something, but then you start doing it, and then you're like, you don't know for sure. So try it out, and if you still love it, then definitely I'd talk to the mentor of the classes and tell them that you're looking for an agent and stuff. They can recommend you one. And also, voiceover reel is a big thing. It's the same for on camera, honestly. Once you get a reel, that helps you get an agent pretty easily.
Fantastic. Well, before we get to the last 2 questions, I'm actually going to throw a random question in that I didn't have planned. How many interviews have you done before? Because you seem like you've done this before, Andy.
This is the first podcast I've done before, but I have done a few interviews on some at some events. Namely, ones done by the Hub through Transformers, actually. I've done quite a few interviews there on the purple carpet is what they have at the Hub. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate the the compliment.
Hey, you're welcome, brother. Well, I'm glad I'm your first podcast. That's pretty epic for me, and it's been a fun time. But let's get into the last 2 questions here. I think these will be pretty cool for you.
Okay.
The first of the last 2 is, what was your favorite cartoon or cartoon character growing up, Andy, and why?
Oh man. Do I have time to think? Okay. Okay. Well, honestly, a few jump out at me right away. This is man, a lot jump out at me because I'm trying to think like how recent okay, so did you say when I was a kid or like
Dude,
now?
it can be whatever, anything.
Okay. Well, namely, I really do love, and I know it's not necessarily a cartoon, it's a movie, but I really do love Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
I love how he sings. I love his voice. I love the character. I love how he looks. I love how he talks. I love his personality. Growing up, I remember watching Disney Channel and stuff, and I remember all the time around Halloween they would play during the commercial breaks. This is Halloween, but it was like a music video type deal, and that's really when I found out who Jack was through those commercials, and I would love the song, and Jack was my favorite character because he's just so cool. And then I watched the movie and I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's so awesome. So growing up, and even today, I have a bunch of like kind of Jack memorabilia, like in my car, Jack water bottle. I know like all the songs by heart. I definitely love Jack Skellington, but growing up, I watched a bunch of different cartoons. I remember Powerpuff Girls. Bubbles was my favorite Powerpuff Girl. I loved
awesome.
Bubbles. She was awesome. They were all cool. Don't get me wrong, but Bubbles was my favorite.
Yeah.
And then Ben 10.
Oh,
Ben 10
dude,
was pretty
yeah.
awesome.
That's a great one. I totally didn't grow up with it, but I still loved watching it.
Ben 10 was lit. Like that guy was. Oh man, I was jealous. I wanted to be Ben 10. You know, like
Yeah.
that was so cool. And then let's see. I do remember one specific anime growing up. My brothers used to watch a lot was Rurouni Kenshin. And actually Steve Bloom played voices in that, and that was where I recognized him. I can't remember the specific name of his character. I want to say it was something like Shishio or something, but when I walked into the room, like I mentioned earlier, and I heard his voice, I imagined the character from Rurouni Kenshin. And yeah, so Rurouni Kenshin from the show Rurouni Kenshin, like he was awesome. He's a samurai dude with like reddish hair, and he walks around with a super cool reverse blade sword. And what I liked about him is that he doesn't kill anybody; he just beats them up, and he fights all these samurai. He's kind of like Robin Hood of like the samurai,
Yeah.
of like a samurai age. And he's got this special sword where it's a reverse blade, so the sharp edge is on the back, so he can sword fight with people using like a regular sword, but he just beats them up. He just whacks them, kind of like the Daredevil or something. It was awesome.
That's
It was
awesome.
so cool. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, Andy, the last question I have for you today, brother, is what is the legacy that you want to leave behind?
That's an interesting question. The legacy that I want to leave behind. I would love to leave behind a legacy of projects that people enjoy. I want people to be able to, kind of similarly how I do with other actors. Like when I think of an actor like, Matt Damon or something, I think of their favorite projects. My favorite projects that he's been in. And I want people to do the same thing with me, just kind of think like, oh, Andy Pessoa, and then think, like this, that, and the other, and like, oh, I love those. And then my legacy would just be a series of projects that people love and enjoy and that make people happy, so that when they think about the projects I've done, they get happy. Kind of similar how I'm like, just as an example, Matt Damon in the Bourne series. Like when I think of Matt Damon, I think of Jason Bourne, and I love those movies, and I enjoy them. I like the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I like the movies themselves. So I would love to have a similar legacy where people are like, oh, Andy Pessoa, oh, I love his work in like Transformers Prime or whatever.
Yeah.
And then that, that makes people happy, because I get happy when I think about the Bourne Identity or whatever.
Yeah, me too, brother. Those are great movies. My wife absolutely loves those, and so do I.
They're so good. The soundtrack is so awesome, and just the storyline, his acting, I love it.
Yeah, it's epic, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think your legacy is fantastic, brother. I mean, you've got a long way to go. Your career has a lot of room to expand, and I look forward to looking at how your legacy continues to grow in the next 10 years, man.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, thanks so much for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Well, Andy, it has been an honor and pleasure having you on the show today. Would you please just give us a closeout as we wrap today's episode up?
Thanks so much for listening to Who Did That Voice, everybody. This has been Andy Pessoa. Perhaps now this is over, I can go get some hors d'oeuvres. Really, Gart? Dude, I'm trying to close out the show. Sorry, just pretty hungry here.
I sure hope you enjoyed today's episode with Andy Pessoa, the voice of Raf from Transformers Prime. And if you did, please find me on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram by searching Who Did That Voice. I would love to hear from you. You know, a question you might ask yourself is, where can I listen to Who Did That Voice? That's an excellent question. You can hear us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, and our website at www.whodidthatvoice.co. Click the Episodes tab and listen away. Well, everyone, that's all the time we have for this episode. Join us this Friday for our next special guest, Tim Nidell, the show host of Saturday Morning Rewind, the podcast. You won't want to miss this episode. Hey, do you ask yourself who did that voice? Well, if you do, go to our website, www.whodidthatvoice.co, and click on the Episodes tab. Choose an actor, pick their name, and see pictures from the different characters they've voiced in their career.
Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next time for more discoveries on Who Did That Voice.